My next guest will fight on September the 22nd for Contender Series when he meets Oscar Cota. And of course, it is the Mountain Jared Vanderaa. Jared, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Working a little early this Sunday morning, realizing that I better go somewhere in this fight career because construction is not in my future. Since the last time we talked, you might know this just from social media presence of ours. I bought the franchise Team Quest from the old owner here in Hemet, Santa Cena area. So I bought that, and now I'm owner and franchising of Team Quest. And I've been trying to put up bag racks to hang, but the thing is, we don't have half of our wall is concrete.
Okay.
And so I've been learning how to do masonry work just to drill these damn bags in, and my bag racks are like 45 pounds or something like that. So I'm learning all the little tidbits of it, and even with all the little tips and tricks, I still don't know how to do it properly. They're like, do this, tried it. Now, I fucked up somewhere, and I'm just like, oh my god. So, the fight career needs to pan out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, clearly you like fighting more than the construction work of running and owning your own gym.
Oh yeah, no, I've definitely the owning part. It's cool to say like I own a gym, and I mean we're as legit as you could get. We have all of our insurances, like the LLCs. I mean, it's a little different because I am a private contractor as a professional fighter. Even with the UFC, if let's say I go in and sign, I'm still technically a private contractor. Whereas I actually own, and there's certain things that like I overlooked while like trading off businesses, because you running them is the same. Like you have to treat your fight career as a business, this is a business. That part's easy, but then it's all these little legal fees and all, or like not fees, but these little legal things that you have to worry about. It's easy just be like, yeah, I'm signing on the lines that if I get hurt, I'm good. Now I have to make sure it's like, hey, do you realize that you're going to get hurt here? Sign. Make sure you sign it properly. And then I happened to purchase it in late January, early February. So let's do some math here.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you next is, you know, what has it been like for you during this pandemic? I mean, just starting at your new gym and then this hits, it must have been very difficult.
Well, yes and no. So when I purchased the gym, I immediately went down to my city of Hemet. I'm like, hey, got all this stuff. I'm like, I have the clientele, I have the place, I have everything. What do I need to do? What permits do I need to sign? What, like, wow. I've already filled out the information for my business license, and Lauren, my business partner, girlfriend, baby mama, all that jazz. So all that together, and so she does all the business aspect of it because she has an eye for it. Unlike me, I just punch people. Well, she had that stuff all written down for me to go to the city and hand it to him. Well, we go to the city and they're like, okay, well, you're going to be this permit. You're going to be permit A. And I was like, okay, that doesn't seem right. So I'm slowly filling out permit A because I'm new to this. Lauren's new to this. We're just like, we're new to this. And it's just like, okay, well, permit A, da-da-da-da-da. And then I'm looking at it, and I'm going through the other permits, and so is Lauren. Lauren dwells deep in this, and she was like, we're not permit A, we're permit B. It's like, they're treating us as a LA Fitness gym, and they completely skipped over us as a martial arts studio.
Oh, okay.
But that took a 3-week process. So in those 3 weeks, our landlord, who already paid my down deposit and stuff, we're like, okay, you know what? We're not going to charge you rent until these people open up and do everything. And I'm like, all right, cool. So So those 3 weeks, just trying to figure out something happens. So they're like, oh, we screwed up, our bad. Fill this out. I'm like, all right. They're like, measure the gym. Tell us where your fire extinguishers are, blah, 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 blah. So I do all that too. I just run right through it. And they're like, it's not good enough. I'm like, what do you mean? You literally asked for these 10 things. Boom. I was like, I even got a professionally made layout of my gym. They're like, oh, well, you need to get an architect. Lucky for me, as I was talking to the city person, an architect assistant or an architect, I don't know her exact title, she popped in and she was like, oh, yeah, I can help. Now, this all falls on a Thursday, and in the city of Hemet, they do not work Fridays. They close Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So every 4 days, I have to do everything. So I talked to the architect. They're like, okay. The architect asked the ladies, like, okay, what does he need? We'll get it done. And I'm like, all right, this is what they said. Okay, they're like, okay, they came in here, boom, 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 boom. They did their thing. They're like, we're going to drop it off Monday. So we drop it off Monday. They're like, oh, well, you know what? Thank you for everything, but we're going to need a third party to review this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like, okay, we're going to be sending it off tomorrow morning because it's already late in the day. I'm like, all right. Well, I asked them, I was like, okay, they send it? They're like, yeah, it's sent. I called them the following day, and they said it's sent. Fast forward a week later, I'm like, hey, any word? What did they say? Oh, well, they don't know. We haven't got a word. Come back the next day. They're like, all right, well, we got a word. They gave us basically 20 pages of corrections. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it sounds like you've been through quite a bit with just trying to get this operationally, functioning. Has that been rather difficult while you're preparing for the biggest fight of your career?
Well, while I was doing this, this was a couple months back. And then basically after that, while I was doing this, I was actually planning on rematching with Tony Lopez at RUF in Arizona. So I was actually preparing another fight while this was all happening. And then after they told me they did they had the 20 corrections, the architect calls me and it's like, hey, they marked the wrong box. So we bring it up to him like, hey, you guys screwed up, not us. And then we're already 5 weeks dealing with this. Then the lady was like, okay. The head lady finally pops in and is like, okay, I'll take over. But it was our Thursday again, so she's like, I'll look at it next week. Coming Monday, she's sick. Coming Tuesday, she's sick. Coming Wednesday, she finally looked at it, and it was approved for the city. So now I have to get my 2 inspections. The next day, I call, get my inspection, is the day that California shut down for the coronavirus.
Wow. So there has been just one thing right after another. Are things better now? I mean, I understand in California, especially, there's a lot of new COVID cases popping up all over the place, and a lot of the state, especially in Southern California, has been shut down. What is it like in your area?
We're breaking the law. Nah, like honestly, I genuinely like. Yeah, I just like, you know what, screw it. I like my opinions on it. Just based off true numbers, it's death rate's like 0 or 0.002%. It's not even 1%. Like, it's that low. And honestly, I have a very weird / extreme views. Though I don't try to project them, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think people are tired of being cooped up. I think people are tired of being told what they can and can't do, from simply just going on hikes to the beaches to just being in nature, acting like nature is, should be shunned when it's actually one of the safest places to be. Mm-hmm. And, working out at a gym helps and boosts your immune system. cardio helps strengthen the lungs, and this is a disease that affects the lungs. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like, you know what, we're all at risk of dying from something. It could be COVID, it could be freaking malaria. I don't know if you die from that, but car crash, a pit bull. I mean, this is Hemet. Crackhead comes stabbing you. It happens all the time. So, I mean, you know, I think a lot of people are just fed up with it. I personally, I don't care too much about politics, but my viewpoint of politics is if I don't hear your name that much in the news, I don't care. And between President Trump and Gavin Newsom, I'm just like, I'm over politics. I don't like either of the two. They need to just, I need to hear less about them, and I'll be happy about that.
Well, let's talk about this last fight that you were supposed to have scheduled. I believe it was against Rich Hale, and then that changed, and you were going to rematch with Tony Lopez. What happened there? Obviously, I'm assuming that the fight was canceled because of the pandemic. But what was with the opponent change?
I think Rich blew his knee. Or, I mean, I feel like it could have been a combination of things. I think maybe he actually injured himself, but I think it was him coming off of like an 8-year layoff or something. They got a long time layoff. Or no, he had a fight like a couple months prior, but he was still kind of fresh off this layoff, and I think he wanted to make another run for it, but maybe people were telling him it's a little overwhelming. Injury, I don't know. I really can't say.
So here we are, fast forward a few months later, and you got the call. Tell us, you know, when you found out and what your initial reaction was that you'll be fighting at Contender Series in September.
Sounds kind of fucked up. I was pissed off because I was because of the new gym hours. I have the gym opening up at 5 a.m. and we close at 9 p.m. and I'm here almost all day, every day. So I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday, and I'm waking up and I'm just like, because I woke up to my phone just going off. I'm like, fuck. I look to my manager like, yo, Contender Series, Oscar. I'm like, yeah. But I'm like fucking tired. That was it. Because I was up, I think, until like 2 o'clock, and it was like 6 a.m. I was just like, oh, I want to sleep. And I haven't been able to sleep all week, but I was like, yes, I'm excited. But I'm like, I just want to sleep. My new manager, Jason House, he's been on top of things. He helps nail this out of the park. Can't wait to have this opportunity. And I was excited to see this opponent, just because it's someone I have kind of wanted to fight for a while now. Stylistically, I think it's one of my better options.
Yeah.
I do very well against boxers. Just stylistically, I feel like, and I think half the reason why I do decent around boxers is in Southern California. There's a lot of freaking boxers here.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You're ranked number one. You're the number one ranked heavyweight in all of California. So it makes sense that you're getting this chance now to step in and fight in front of Dana White. As far as your training partners that you've been working with thus far, who have they been? Has it been pretty much the same group of guys, or has that been a little different because of this whole pandemic?
Yeah, I still got the redhead wonder, Sam. Fernando pops in, you know, him being a wet blanket and stuff is annoying. Dan's popped in a few times, a little bit more in sparring. You know, he puts his cane down every now and then and just jumps in there. I feel like he's going to beat me one of these days for all these old jokes that I make of him. No, I think I'm going to try to get a few bigger guys. We have, there's in Temecula, I have a friend, Jason Shirley. He's 6'5", former Browns lineman. He was in the NFL for a couple years. Walks around at like maybe 320. I'm gonna try to get work in with him and some of his teammates that, they might not be high quality stand-up fighters or grapplers, but I would like to get a few extra bigger bodies to go with. My boy Jack May has hit me up a few times. He wants to help out, and I love always working with that guy. He's a sweetheart, and I like having someone that wants to help me out. I want to help him out. We gotta build each other up.
Mhm.
And plus, no one likes tall people. Like once you're over 6'2", they're like, "Oh, you're too big to play with." So it's always nice when you find someone that's tall and like, "Yeah, let's punch each other." It's like, yes, finally a sparring partner. Because even now, like Sam's like, "You're too damn big." I'm like, "Oh, it's not my fault. You decided to go 185, lose all this weight. Oh, what he gets for being redheaded."
What are you walking around at these days? Have you been able to kind of keep your weight range in check?
No, I have not. After the Tony fight, it kind of, I knew I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a break off this quarantine, because I know once this quarantine or whatever's lifted, that I am going to be busy. Was it my first break in 6 years was in August for the first time in 6 years. I didn't have time off unless it was injuries, and even then I still would go into work. My first week off was in late August of last year, and I was just like, I don't know the next time I'm going to have a break or a little quote unquote vacation. I was like, I'm going to just take this time to just relax. So the first month I would come in the gym every now and then to like fix up the place, change things. Then I would get some training in. I wasn't spending so much time in the gym. I was like, I knew I'm gonna be busy. Then Sam was like, "Oh, I have this fight." I'm like, all right. We started working together. Then the next day it's like, "Oh, the fight's canceled." I'm just like, motherfucker. And then the fight's happening again. It's like, all right, I'll be back in. And yeah, so like I really wasn't like putting full force with a lot of training and stuff, because I knew once this happened, I'm just going to be busy. And yeah, sure enough, I'm glad I made that call, because yeah, I'm busy as shit. Like I said, I wake up 5 a.m. or 4:30, get here at 5, stay here until 7. Then I go get ready again to go to Dan's, and that's an hour drive. Train there for several hours, come back, and then eat, like just take a second to breathe, come back here, and then from 4 to, was it 9 o'clock, and then I'm kicking students out, and then I'm staying here until 9:30ish, almost 10. Go home, shower, eat, wake up at 4:30 again.
Yeah. So are you saying that you're going to have to really kind of stay disciplined to get back to where you were before the big fight comes in September?
Yes and no. I've before this whole, like, because I was walking damn near close to 300 pounds. I knew something was coming up, so I naturally just like, okay, I'm gonna start eating healthier and stuff like that. And I've already dropped, I think, like 10, 15 pounds already easily. I'm now close to like 280.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
well.
Goal for this fight, I want to be under 250.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, that will be a big change. And I mean, the heavyweight limit is 265, so I'm sure just in cutting water weight, you'd be able to make that no problem.
Oh, I mean, 250 is, I actually just want to be there. I want to be faster. I want to physically look better. I mean, this is one of those things where, yeah, I could have spent more time on my nutrition and all that jazz on during the quarantine. And while I was more studying and understanding it more, I wasn't necessarily and now I'm starting to implement all that stuff, just because I didn't realize this opportunity was going to come so quick, and I wanted to. I understand that even though I'm a heavyweight, there's some level of aesthetic that does appear and help promote. certain people. I mean, if you look at a lot of the heavyweights and under, most of them are pretty fit. Like, we'll go heavyweights because one, I'm a heavyweight. Two, they're all bigger guys. Curtis Blades, fit. And I mean, granted, from like when you see Curtis Blades start the UFC to what he's now, there has been a transformation. Francis, Stipe. The only two that really kind of don't necessarily fit that is DC and Derek Lewis. Like DC falls under the short, stocky, power shot kind of dude. Derek Lewis is just Derek Lewis. But most of, like, you look at Overeem, granted, he had his Overeem years. Most of them all have a decent aesthetic to them.
Yeah.
And ones that are building up have decent Cecil Jean, great aesthetic. Greg Hardy, pretty decent aesthetic. But you look at some of these other guys, like that Russian cat, Ty Root. He's a big Russian dude.
Volkov?
What?
Thinking of Volkov?
Not Volkov, the other one, like it's like Ty. Starts with a T.I. Mushkov or something.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Well, clearly, I mean, heavyweights, you guys are a different breed. You guys are bigger, stronger. That's why you're at the top of the weight class here. When you were saying before, Jared, when you look at this matchup, you like it. You perform well against boxers. Tell me, how do you feel this fight is going to come, how it's going to play out come fight night?
He's going to try to hit me a lot. I'm really good at counter striking. I think my Muay Thai, it's not even really Muay Thai, it's more Dutch kickboxing, plays a massive effect. I think it plays very well against boxers. And then I think my grappling is definitely better than his. And working on a lot of the jiu-jitsu, and weirdly enough, at my weight right now, my cardio is almost as good as it's going to get. And if I drop 30 more pounds or 20 more pounds, it's going to be a bad day for him. Like, because I feel like there's a lot of people that look at me like, you're too damn big to continue going this hard for this long. And I want to be able to just go hard, all 15 minutes if I have to. Granted, this is Dana White Contender Series. I only technically got like 2 minutes to win, but if I had to drag this out, because my opponent looks like he got a break head. Like, it looks like I could bring a baseball bat, bend the bat over his head, take the sink, break that over his head, and he'd still be standing. So I feel like it's going to be a long night of just beating this dude's head. So I'm preparing, like I'm going to play the drums all night on this dude's head. I know I'm not the hardest puncher, so that also puts me at a disadvantage. I mean, I'm not out here just like sleep. I don't have the Francis Ngannou death touch.
Not many people do, but do you feel like you're going to be able to get this guy out of there and finish him, or do you think you might have to win a decision fight here?
Oh no, I definitely think I could easily get him out. I mean, I doubt myself a lot, but in like finishing people, but my finish rate is 10 to. I have 10 or 9 finishes and 1 decision win.
Mm-hmm. So what round do you feel like you're going to get the win here in this fight?
Goal is first, and a lot of my fights are first round finishes, so I don't see why not. Mm-hmm. I think I could easily get this done in the first round, and that I want Mick, I want Dana, and I want not really Sean Shelby, but I always take his blessing too, to just like, this guy's fucking scary. Like, not like, I don't want to like they're just like, this guy just hurt this guy, and we had to stop him.
So you sound pretty excited then to get in there and perform in front of the UFC brass here. Do you expect? I mean, you were saying earlier in the interview too, Jared, that you were almost a little disappointed about the call. It seems like maybe you thought you would be able to get a contract outright and not have to go this Contender Series route, just get a 3-fight deal right into the UFC. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I think, especially it was like this was a couple interviews ago, right? I do kind of remember saying something like that, and I think half of that was the person I was working with. I don't think he necessarily knew all the answers, but he liked the idea of keep giving me hope type of thing, which I'm not necessarily mad at. It's just it didn't get me anywhere, and I would rather just I'd rather just be like, hey, you need to work harder. You're not getting these opportunities, and then I fill my head with, oh, I have to perform. I have to perform. With there's a possibility that I could get 3 fights after this, and then now, and I'm more happy that I didn't do that, because now you look at the Contender Series. The Contender Series is creating a bigger name for everybody. It's pushing people out there, and it's getting people fights and their names out. Because I mean, I'll use him. He's maybe the biggest star that came from the Contender Series so far is Shane Mosley. Okay.
Mally.
Yeah, Mallory. Personally, I don't like him. I just his aesthetic and it's not for me. But dude's a great fighter. Um, and he stands out. He's amazing. And then there's just a bunch of other ones. There's and then you look at necessarily the tough, like the last tough with the heavyweights. The winner of the tough hasn't fought since winning. The only one that's been active is Maurice. And the thing, I wouldn't say his gimmick, because no, he's honestly, he loves his crocheting, but that makes him stand out. And he's tall, skinny. I mean, he's charismatic, but you don't really see anyone that came out of the tough series in the last like 5 years to really make a name for themselves. And then you got Mr. Mosley over here just like, wow, look at me, bam. And people are staring at him. And I think, and you start seeing like, I mean, when Juan Adams went to the UFC undefeated, there was hype behind his name. And Greg Hardy also. I mean, yes, he had the controversial past and whatnot, but there's people that are building names in the Contender Series and making ends meet a lot quicker than people that have just gone through the traditional route. Because you see a bunch of those guys go through the traditional route and they kind of just get lost in the noise. And right now, like a lot of people don't know how to separate themselves from the noise. They are just getting lost in the background because they're repeating and doing everything else that everyone else is doing. And it's like, oh my God. It's like, how do I stand out when I'm doing the same exact thing as everyone else is doing?
So what do you envision for your future here in the next year or so? Like, what do you hope your path is and what you want to accomplish?
Honestly, I think I'm going to just be me. Like, I mean, as a person, like going in there, I'm going to bust their balls. Goal wise, though, I have two. I mean, become UFC champion. I mean, typical statement from every fighter. But I have set my eyes on something I think is a little bit more crown achieving than that. It's because, I mean, I once I heard this record, I was like, I could beat this fucking record. It's Justin Gaethje's leg kick record. I think it's 3.4 a minute. My goal is to beat that. And I want to beat it because I'm a heavyweight and I get to rub that into little people's faces. Like, haha, Justin Gaethje, I'm 100 pounds heavier than you, and I kick more than you. Therefore, I am better. So that's really the goal. That I don't know. Once I heard that number, I'm like, that's the number I want to beat. that's a number that at the end of the day that enticed me more than gold, because everyone wants the gold, but there's sometimes you're gonna miss opportunities. Sometimes you're gonna have to fight a guy named Francis. I think I would have a harder time with Curtis Blades than Francis.
Really? Wow. Why
Yeah.
so?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just because of the wrestling?
Oh yeah, his wrestling's stupid.
Yeah.
Like I trained with Dominic Reyes. All right. I have shot on this guy, and he's shot on me. All right. Taking him down is a pain in the ass. I think I would like to think he struggles taking me down. Weidman took him down, but he was like, "Yeah, Chris Blades takes me down with ease." And I'm just like, "Yeah, he takes you down with ease. I don't want that in my life."
Yeah, that would be a difficult matchup for a lot of people, man. So no reason to feel bad about that. Let me ask you this: who will be making the trip with you to Vegas? Have you decided who will be in your corner come fight night?
Yes, I have 2/3 people. One is Zach Sherman. He's been my head coach kind of in the last like 5 fights, something like that. Dude's a genius. So I'm glad that he's always been there trying to improve. He's predominantly my striking coach. That's his forte. That's his knowledge. Then I'm taking out Sir Tom Galicchio. He's the dude's been a giant inspiration to me in the last year and a half, 2 years, ever since he's taken over the gym or whatever. I've learned so much from him. Like I don't know, it just how he teaches just clicks fucking deep in me. I'll say this, because of him. After my fight with Odoms, where I had the rear naked choke and I couldn't finish it, it was him that showed me how to finish that. And honestly, I think if I ever get someone's back again and I get my arm across that throat, they're not going to be able to tap fast enough. And that's something that I've trained my ass off ever since that Odoms fight. And then I had a third option, so I brought Sir Joe Daddy Stevenson. One, he lives in Victorville, so that's like a 2-hour drive for him. So it's not really like it's out of the way, but it's like me driving to San Diego. It's kind of far, but not far enough where it's like, oh my god. So I have all three of those guys. Joe's also he's great at mixing things up, and he's basically a human microphone.
Yeah.
He loud. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure if you put him in, I think if you ever watched the Contender Series with Jamal last year, you heard Joe. You heard Joe more than you heard Jamal hit this guy, and Jamal hit this dude hard. Just bah! And then you hear Joe's like, follow up with the cross, takedown. And then you see Jamal land a hard cross. Personally, I thought he broke his face, and then takedown. And then you just hear Joe louder than those hits. And I'm like, Jamal hits hard. Yeah, that's another person that's going to be training with me, Jamal. Prog's, dude's a monster. He's a couple years younger than me. We actually fought in the amateur circuit. He beat me both times. First one was a decision. The second one was a split decision. And I will say going against him was kind of the biggest fights that I needed from me. Because that was actually Joe's boy, and going against Jamal kind of realized I really need to work on my fucking wrestling.
Well, you've clearly made leaps and bounds as far as your strides go. You're one of the most dangerous heavyweights out there, and I'm very happy that you're getting this opportunity here for Dana White's Contender Series. Jarrell, I know you have a lot of people that support you, so before I let you go, I want to give you the floor, and if you have any sponsors or anyone that you want to thank or any social media you want to plug, the floor is yours, my friend.
First, I want to thank just everyone for watching. I always appreciate you guys watching. Lauren, all my training partners at the gym, Sam, Jamal, God, I can't believe I'm forgetting half their names. I'm a terrible friend. Fernando, Dominic, Dan, old man Dan. He could, I always appreciate the help from him. Dude's knowledgeable, and he still hits like a freaking brick. You can always follow me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, that I rarely use. I am using, though, TikTok a lot. I know that there might be a ban, but I don't care. It's fun. I suck at making videos on it, but I'm doing it. Like, before this call, I was literally finishing up a video.
Where can I go find you? What's your handle?
It should be Jared Vanderaa on TikTok.
Okay. Perfect.
Watch all the dumb videos. Like, they are horrible, but it's fun. And I feel like it's one of those, I think it's going to be like one of those things where it's better to know how to do it early on and build that following before everyone else jumps on the bandwagon. And so I'm just trying to do this now before freaking UFC really starts pushing this on fighters. I'm like, let me start sprinting there now. So I'm trying to get a heads up on that. So yeah, no. And I'm trying to do the Twitter thing. God, I'm awful with Twitter. It's like there's a lot of reading, and I'm dyslexic. I'm just like, you know what? I'm too dumb for this platform.
Well, I'm trying to grow my Twitter as well, so I'll make sure to promote you here on that as well. And again, Jared, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my man. I'm stoked that you're getting this opportunity to fight down in Vegas for Contender Series, and let's do a little recap afterwards once you get the contract.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then I would just be like, woo, making it rain with the contract on myself. I'm like, yes.
Very cool. Well, again, thank you for the time, buddy, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right, man. Have a great day.